Howdy, everyone. Tad Stevens on the Micro Success Secrets podcast, where we focus on business psychology and marketing and how you can use that in your business daily and long term. Today, I'm talking with Adam Knight. Adam, welcome to the show, and please take a minute and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hey, Tad, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Adam Knight. I am the principal at a hotel management company based in Seattle called Knowing Hospitality and host and creator of the Proven Principles Hospitality podcast. And I guess effectively my background for the last 25 years has been in hotels and hospitality, working primarily for luxury brands like Fairmont and St. Regis. And then I moved actually into my own company at the beginning of 2020. It was what better time than ever to start your own hotel management company than at the start of the pandemic. So that's what's been going on for 25 years in 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, and that is a very interesting story, believe it or not. I have a lot of people that made a pivot or a change right as or right before the pandemic happened. And I am one of those people as well.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to launch my first major product, my first major online course, pandemic hit. So
Right. Yeah. And I mean, talk about having to pivot and learn quickly and adjust. I mean, it's been like a masterclass or an MBA in having to figure out what to do with your business in such a short amount of time. It's been an interesting experience, having not having the parachute available or the safety net rather of working for another organization. I think there's probably an entire series of podcasts that could be made that safety net doesn't even exist. It was all in your mind anyway.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that real quick is a lot of people, me included, did not realize that what I lost really was a safety net. I didn't see it as a safety net. I just assumed it was going to be tomorrow.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's not that way anymore.
It's not that way anymore. Full disclosure, I started this. I'd been talking about starting my own hotel management company forever. And so, the pandemic allowed me to do that mostly because my corporate level position where I oversaw several hotels across the country, my position was eliminated when the bottom fell out of hospitality. Yep. So, I had a choice. I could either go out and try to find another W-2 job, with somebody else in an industry that's completely collapsed. And be and all the things that come with that, right? You could be the last guy in, so maybe you're the first guy out when things start to, if things don't turn around. But I decided at that point, I didn't want to have somebody else in charge of how I was going to be able to, pay the mortgage and put food on the table, and at their whims and whether I fit an ROI onto their P&L. I was really more concerned about growing something myself and being responsible and for my own future. And, you could argue, starting your own business, you don't start making money right out of the gate. Right. So we can probably dive into that. But I got to tell you, without giving too much away at the beginning of the podcast, I'm far happier today doing this than, in spite of everything that's been going on, than the anxiety that came from working in an organization that was part of an industry where the bottom fell out. Even though I was in a position to be one of the decision makers, decisions were still made on my behalf, and I was still, at the I was the one holding the short stick at the end of the day, along with many other people. This is not about me, but just to illustrate kind of my mindset and how I got into what I'm doing right now.
Well, and that's great because actually that leads into the questions that I want to ask. You've already touched on several of them, but the first one I like to bring up, and this may or may not fit, but I think the timing is right. What is one business or life decision that you've made in the past? You could go back, you could look at it. And if you could change it, first off, would you? And if you could change it, what would you change it to?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because I think I said I'd been talking about starting my own company for a very long time. I've been in the hotel industry for 25 years now. and have had the fortune, I've been fortunate to be able to move around the country, work in some pretty incredible properties, work for some great organizations, some great hotels, great leaders along the way, and been exposed to so much. So that's kind of where the fork is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Have I been able to be set up for success to do my own thing by having that background and deep understanding of all of the facets of the industry? Or would I have been better off pulling back much sooner and then going off and doing my own thing without having all of the experiences that came with being with these organizations? And I honestly wrestle with that a lot. I think where I landed on it right now is that the number of contacts that I've been able to the people that I've met over the years, the travel, the different players that are involved in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
growing that network, that has been honestly far more beneficial for me today than had I not had a chance to grow that several years ago, had I walked away and started my own thing. Now there would have been new contacts and new things learned, absolutely. But I just think that where I sit today talking to you, I think having the patience to stay in the industry that I was in, learning from mentors and getting that background and that experience for me personally has been very beneficial. That's allowed me to come and do what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm. And bringing up the importance of the network. I mean, that is a
100%.
topic we talk about a lot, of how important networks are,
Yeah.
especially when you're going off doing your own thing, because you
Yep.
have that structure that you're leaving. That network can help quite a bit.
It can. Yeah. And what's funny, at least in hospitality, is that so many people have been affected by this all the way up the chain. It's not, the entry level positions. It goes all the way up to senior corporate roles.
Mm-hmm.
That what I've found now in the last year, basically, is that there's so many of my peers and colleagues along the way are very much in the same position that I'm in right now. They're trying to figure out where they're going to take their career. The thing that they've been doing quite literally their entire working lives is arguably taken away from them for the foreseeable future. So how are they going to pivot? Are they going to stay in it? Are they going to use their skills in another industry? So, this is a much bigger challenge right now in this industry.
Okay. So to switch that question around a little bit, if you could go back again,
Mm-hmm.
take a time machine, go back, and you could look at the business and life decisions that you've made,
Mm-hmm.
is there one that sticks out as being super positive? One that you can look back and you can think of, oh, my life was like this before,
Mm-hmm.
or my business was like this after. Is there
Mm-hmm.
one of those that you'd share?
Yeah, there is. And it was the point at which I decided that not only was I going to do this for a living, but that I was going to do what it took to climb the ladder and be successful in this industry. So, I say this all the time. You go where the work is in hotels.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
there's a lot of people that, and this is no fault to anybody. This is just the path I took. But there's a lot of people that stay in their hometown or stay, in one city for a long time and try to climb the ladder if that's their ambition. They want to move up the rung, or up different rungs. And in the hotel industry, that's really hard because sometimes there are, first of all, in a lot of cases, there's only one of the job you're trying to do in a property, especially if you're going up the ladder. So you got to wait for that guy to leave before you can try to take on that next promotion. I had a different philosophy. I said, if I want to be a hotel GM by the time I'm 40, I'm going to have to move around a lot and go to actively try to get promotions and positions at other hotels. So I joined up with Fairmont Hotels, and they were an incredible organization that I had a chance to work for. Mm-hmm. And I moved around to, I think I worked at like 12 or 13 properties over my career with them, constantly every couple of years going around and doing different jobs. And each time was one rung up the ladder and one more set of experiences and one more set of one more group of people that I had a chance to work with and learn how they do things and what they would do that works and what doesn't work and how I would adapt it. And, the day that I remember vividly, the day that I decided that was going to be the path that I went down. And I'm so grateful for being able to do that, because today it's very easy to pick up and move. I've done it countless times at this point. But
Mm-hmm.
when I started, that was hard to do. You're getting out of your comfort zone. You don't, I mean,
Right.
at some point, it's the first time you've ever gone to another job in another city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every time it does get easier, but making that leap sometimes a second time, especially if the first time didn't go very well, that's a hard thing to do. So sticking to that vision and knowing that there's a longer term payoff was something that was really beneficial for me.
Super. Okay. It kind of rolls into the next question that I've got is, when you come across those decisions, do you have a method, or do you have a process that you use to get through those decisions, to keep from getting stuck, to keep moving forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think on the surface, I just say I'm decisive. I make decisions very quickly, and I go with them, and then I adjust as I need to down the road. I really try not to get paralyzed by analyzing every little step. Sometimes I wish I had, that headstrongness, like that, getting into something maybe a little too quickly, it could take you more work and more time trying to fix what you did maybe that you shouldn't have done. But I think by and large throughout my career, and just through my life, I've had this ability to take in just enough information to be able to make a call. And there's an intuitiveness about decision making that has been developed within me over the years. That said, I don't stray too far from what I do. So I'll give you an example. I'm not going to go out and do a podcast or have a long discussion about I don't know, astrophysics. I don't know anything about it, right? So I'm going to steer clear of that. I stay in my lane.
Okay.
And I think that has allowed me to be able to make decisions quickly and pivot quickly and slowly expand the width of my lane over time.
And I think that is great advice, as well as a lot of us, me in particular, in the past have gone off of or out of my lane when I see the shiny object out there or something I want to try. And what you described, I think, is a great analogy, is you stay in your lane and you just expand your lane as you go along. Because that keeps you grounded and just keeps you moving forward at the same time.
And focused. And listen, I suffer from it too, especially now being my own business owner, my own boss. Always having to think, does this serve what I'm trying to do? How does this fit into my North Star? And it could be a struggle day to day, especially if you see something that could be a really good opportunity to go after. But like I said at the beginning, I think I've been able to stay disciplined in my approach to those things, and that's served me relatively well. Now that has, we could talk about how that's not served me well. Sometimes you're a little too disciplined, or you stick to things too much. But by and large, it's been good.
Okay. Well, I love the phrase your North Star. I haven't heard it put that way. Stay in your lane, but your North Star. I'm going to make sure that's in the show notes.
Yeah.
So, if you knowing what you know now, something horrible happens or something really disruptive happens, like a global pandemic, really changes the landscape of what you're looking at. Knowing what you know now, would you keep doing what you're doing, or would you do something different, you think?
Before I got into hotels, I thought about being an attorney, and I had all the LSAT books. I was studying, I was trying to figure out if that was going to be the path for me. And I think it's hard to say, how do you separate yourself from something that you've been doing for so long? It becomes a part of you. It's hard to remember who I was before I got into this industry. But I think that ultimately a lot of the aspects about the hospitality industry, I have that innately in me. What I mean by that is trying to be helpful and do good by people, and provide great experiences for people, and make sure they're taken care of. I think that's something that's always been in me. And so the industry almost chose me. Hotels are very hard to work in, especially when you get up into some of the big properties, the big name
Mm-hmm.
properties everybody knows of. And if you're not cut out for it, you will leave it. There's no doubt. It's too demanding of your time and your energy. And there could be a lot of personal cost on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you truly love it and it speaks to you, you'll stay in it. And 25 years later, here I am.
Super. Excellent. Adam, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate all that. That was great. Going to wrap up a little bit now. Is there anything that you'd like to close with, and anything you'd like to offer or suggest to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, happy to. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'd love to talk to any of the viewers or any of the listeners. You can find me at knowinghospitality.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, but if you want to schedule a call with me, there's a little scheduling widget on the website. I'd be happy to talk to anybody. And even if there's any listeners that have a hotel or restaurant, or they're in the hospitality industry and you want to share war stories, or you've got some questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to talk.
Okay, that sounds outstanding. Again, thank you very, very much. Thanks everyone for listening in today. Have a very safe and productive week, and be the very, very best at whatever it is you're going to do. Until next time, this is Tad Stevens with Micro Success Secrets. Bye for now.